I am continuously growing, and my brand speaks for itself because you put me and excellence in one sentence, and I'm bigger than excellence. So it's like it's ideally
You could be a rapper, actually.
it's one of those things, man. I studied law, man. I did my 5 years of law school. Yeah, I did my 5 years of law school. I did all my modules. So basically, the one thing I'm left with.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Media Space podcast, brought to you in part by Media Space Inc. and we get FM 104.4 megahertz. If you are listening live and you are an international follower of the podcast, you can listen to the podcast on www.wegetfm.co.ls. And if you are a fan of the show, you can also follow us on every platform at the Media Space Pod. And before I waste any time, let me have Mr. Lungile Matutoane introduce himself. Who are you? Yes, we have published a post. You are a brand. You are a YouTuber. You are a businessman. You are everything, man. Let's have you introduce yourself.
All right. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to the Media Space podcast. We're chilling with yours truly, Mr. Mashuani in the space, and shout out to Weeketler FM for hosting us. My name is Lungile Matutoane. I am a podcaster, radio presenter, media creative. Ideally, I do everything that involves creative media solutions, man. From audio mixing to conceptual marketing strategies and all of that jazz. Basically, I am a Houdini with a bag of marketing tricks and just creative arts, man. I'm just an artist, basically.
And just like that, we have a lot to talk about,
Yes,
because as a CEO of Media Space Inc., we love marketing.
Yes,
and
sir.
you mentioned that you do and love marketing strategy. Because before we get further into everything, I don't want this to be a radio show, because obviously it's not.
Yes, sir.
And for whoever has been watching the show since episode 1, well, I'm saying it like it's like long ago.
Because it's episode 2, yeah.
Yeah. But we had Mr. BK on the platform, and he couldn't make it today. But we can still continue, and I think from my perspective, not knowing who you are, you can give me a clear picture of why you are on the Media Space podcast. Yeah, we had our team invite you, but tell us why you are on the Media Media Space podcast selfishly. Your selfish reasons why you're here.
Right. I was thinking about this actually on my way here, actually earlier, about how if you think about it, somebody like the last guest, right? The last guest is basically a renowned creative, even though it's in a different field. You know, he's an entrepreneur. He's a coder, as a programmer, and whatever. But he's been making waves for whatever he's doing. You know, he's been holding it down for whatever he's been pushing. And I think the recognition came with the fact that he's been effective in the industry that he's in. So I think the reason I'm here is because I'm alive and well in the industry that I'm in, you know. I'm a pioneer in my space, and I am continuously growing, and my brand speaks for itself because you put me and excellence in one sentence, and I'm bigger than excellence. So it's it's ideally
you could be a rapper, actually.
It's one of those things, man. Done that, did that, doing that, you know.
I got a T-shirt for it.
Shut up. But like, ideally, I just think my work just speaks for itself, man. I think the right people who are watching and listening, and the audience that I've created over the years have consistently put me on, you know. There's a reason that when I share today's poster, there's a bit more traction, you know, because and engagement. So there's actual people who are watching and engaging with my work, and I think it's just this is just another milestone to say, hey yo, somebody else is watching, and the Media Space pod is watching, they want you to come through to their platform and maybe share a slice of your life and your business and whatever brand you represent. But ideally, that's where we are, man. I think that's why I'm here. Ideally, I'm just I'm an alive and well brand.
Awesome. Yeah. Let me tell you our selfish reasons why we had you on the pod.
Yes, sir.
Remember when you came to Media Spacing offices? I was like, well, before that, we knew that we wanted to have you on a podcast. Actually, when we were talking to our co-host, Mr. BK, even though he's not here today, we were talking, look, we can have people like Lungile Matutoane on our podcast and have a conversation about how he does it. Like, how do you do it, man? And then a year passed because we conceptualized and had this podcast as an idea since 2021.
Yeah.
And then 2022, 2023, and then 2024, it actually happens in part with We Get FM, which is an awesome venture, by the way.
Yes, sir.
And then we were like, we can finally have Lungile on the pod.
Yes, sir.
And actually host him. Selfish reasons were you're doing great. We only have people on the pod who are doing great. And
sense.
then we realized that at the same time we need to actually have your brand out there, because if we can actually help one brand, pretty much as much as you are a good person, by the way, we know that if we can put you on, however we can, you can put on like 500 other people, because your brand already is influential. Remember when we were starting Media Spacing, I reached out to you, hey man, we need to do something together, but we didn't have the resources to make that happen.
Then, yes, sir.
Yeah. So we were like, Lungile is the clear choice beyond having Mr. Lungile Matutoane on the platform. Shout out to Mr. Lungile, because yes, we don't have following because it's like the second pod, second episode, but he actually engaged with our platform and actually asked you a question. So I'm excited to have you answer that question that he had.
For sure.
And one of your fans, before, I don't know now, but before, he actually asked you a question. So I'm actually excited how you are gonna answer that question.
Yes, sir.
So, YouTuber.
Yes, sir.
Brand, businessman.
Yes, sir.
And marketing. I actually took the time to look at your profile. Yes, you said you can actually give us legal advice.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna have a legal person here. We might have an episode where you are here and then she is here, and I'm pretty excited about that too. So tell us, legal.
Oh yeah.
So you went academic too. So obviously saying legal, you went academic. So tell us about your academic journey.
Ideally, man, it's nothing too complicated. I was enrolled. I still am actually. I'm still at school. I'm just I just basically paused for like a year now, because there's like work as well, and then there was like financial things in the mix as well, and then like performance issues and stuff, but censored, excuse me for my language. But ideally, that's where it is. I studied law, man. I did my 5 years of law school. Yeah, I did my 5 years of law school. I did all my modules. So basically, the one thing I'm left with is my research paper. And that's the one thing that's probably I'm going to do again in August. I think I'm going to be doing like a full-time scholar for like 3 months. And then I'll be done with the research paper, my dissertation, academics. Yes, sir. But ideally, the legal aspect of me is a facet of myself that I don't necessarily explore much because I don't practice, right? I'm not even a paralegal or anything of that sort. But I have a service that I started like 2 years ago, because I've been in the entertainment industry for a few years, and I realized that there's a lot of exploitation. And as a person who's also been exploited in the space, I wanted to create a safer space for creatives. Okay. So I offer the services for basically development of contracts for entertainment, entertainers actually, yes, in the entertainment industry. So basically for whatever service that you offer, either you're a graphic designer, either you're an artist, either you're a videographer, I have like drafted some contracts that I use as some sort of template that I readjust to your specific need and terms, you know? So ideally, I posted this a while back, bro. A while
How
back.
long are we
It's been
looking
like
at?
2 years, dog. 2 years ago. I was like, I
That's
told people, I'm
crazy.
like, yo, guys, if you do not have any kind of legal document binding you to whatever you do, hit me up and then we could work on something, you know? At first it
Okay.
was a free service and then, you know?
Okay.
And then I'm like, reluctance, the
So
fact that you guys...
you're doing free service.
Yeah,
too.
that was pro bono for some time, and then you'll see that most people want to engage with this because I don't know why. Most entertainers think they have it down. The agreements
it all
are
figured out.
they think they figured it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Whoever will come, it'll be fine. You know, whoever will come, it'll be fine. And since it's not my main stream of income, you know, it's just one of those things that I do as part of my portfolio. So yeah, that's one of the services I offer. I do contract development. I do reviews. You know, I do some consultations as well. So some people will have a contract already. I'll make an example with a popular artist who's basically international right now.
From Lesotho,
from
Southern
Lesotho.
Africa.
Yes. Save Hope. Yes. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
did Save Hope's contract.
With a record label.
Yeah, with the record label in the
That's
States.
awesome.
Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
what happened was when he got it, he sent it to me because I've been like a fan of him, and I've been like,
He's really good.
yeah,
by the way.
I'm a big fan of his work. So at the beginning, we're still in high school even,
Ever since.
and before I was like, yo, finish school, and then we'll figure out how this whole thing happened. So.
Okay.
Now he comes to me whenever he has like legal stuff, and then I just review the contract, you know, what to add, what to remove, you know, just to suss it out, just to see if it's good for him, if it's a good move for him to move to the States abruptly from a contract by,
Just like that.
you know, and all those things. So yeah, it's one of those things. Some of the people that do engage me are some prominent people and some upcoming artists as well.
That's awesome, man. Would you consider yourself as a person who loves giving?
Giving. Yeah, man.
Because I'm
it's so
listening
easy.
to your story. Pardon me for that. I'm listening to your story, and from a layman's perspective, I'm saying nobody has ever given me legal work for free, especially if it involves millions of dollars or millions
potential.
of valuta easily. Would you consider yourself as a person who loves giving?
I think so. But like, I think one other thing we have to look at, not to get too philosophical, but like, ideally, if you look at yourself as somebody who is a giver, then I guess maybe your intentions are not as, you know, something that's so organic, that comes organically to you is not something you see as a second person or a third party, you know.
Okay.
You cannot have a vision of yourself doing it, you know. It comes to you so organically that it's not a trait that I could say, oh, I'm such a giver, but you know, it just it comes so naturally that it's not a trait of mine. It's not a trait of mine that I have thought about to the extent where it's part of my trade. But yes, in the most technical way, if we're being objective, yes, I love giving, because I feel like I've been extended so many arms in my life, in my career, that it doesn't make sense for me not to do the same, you know? It does not make sense for me to keep the ladder down, you know? Yeah, so I always extend myself to other people because it's easy and it takes nothing from me, honestly.
I actually feel the same way. Like, for the most part, as much as we are in business, we are in marketing, etc., we don't take the time to sit down and think about how much we have been given that it actually compels us to give. You know, we can go out of our way and say, look, I'm giving because I give, but that was actually an amazing answer, because someone would say easily, yeah, I love giving.
Yeah.
That's it. That's easy. That's an easy thing to do.
That's
but
pretty easy.
Saying that you have been given before, it's actually something that we need to actually start practicing as professionals in the real world. That we give because we have been given before. Not that you can only give because you have been given before, but also considering the fact that some of the things influence you
Yeah,
to actually
to
feel
how
like
you
you can reciprocate the
the same
energy.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. My second question to what you said would be, why?
Why? I mean, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. I like extending grace to the next person is so easy. It's just the way we raise. I think everybody, your personal trade is something that obviously grows with you, but sometimes also there's the fact that you were raised like that. You know, I come from my mom specifically. My mother is a free, loving spirit, and I guess my character. So much of my character is how she raised me. Also, growing up in a religious household, it becomes ingrained in
Naturally.
you. Yeah, naturally. So I do it because it takes nothing from me. You know, yeah. If we were talking about it in that sense, it takes nothing from me. It's easy for me to do that. Also, I love amazing things. I don't wanna. I love quality, bro. My friends, there's literally a group of my friends who call me quality because I was always telling them, because I'm always telling them like it's not about the quantity most times. It's about the quality, specifically talking about people and the quality of people that you work with and that you allow yourself and you open yourself to also kind of dictates the quality that you also put out. So that goes out ideally every aspect, every single facet of my life. I apply the same principle.
Okay.
If you add quality to my life, then I'm honestly going to give you quality as well. So quality people that they deserve that kind of energy. You know, the people that I'm around deserve that. And if you do not bring that element in my life, in my workspace, then it's not gonna work. You know, yeah.
Okay, tell me, you are a YouTuber.
Yes, sir.
I actually you have influenced me to get into being a YouTuber, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Now that you know,
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what does it look like as an African beyond just as an African in Lesotho? What's the landscape like? What's the monetization like?
Bro.
What's the the followership? Because we're looking at because for you to actually monetize your platforms, it's you have to have subscribers on the platform. You have to have viewership. Yeah, you have like how many minutes of viewership on the platform?
4,000. You have to have 4,000.
4,000
Watch
minutes.
hours.
Watch hours.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's new.
Hours, bro.
I actually haven't looked really seriously into it. But tell me, what does it look like? What's the landscape like? You know, I don't want to tap into our previous friend of the show question, but I think we are gonna ask that question. But at the end of the day, I want you to tell me what's the landscape like as a YouTuber.
Man,
what does it look like as an African?
Yeah. Okay.
And beyond being an African in Southern Africa, Lesotho.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest, ne? The reality of it is YouTube. Let's start at first base level. In Lesotho, you cannot monetize at all. If your location is still the L, you are not going to monetize despite your numbers, despite nothing.
You get 100,000, million,
nothing,
etc.
That is because corporates like Google specifically look at their markets, right? And the reality of it is our nation, the state is only spending on the digital landscape now. It's only learning to do that. Only now that can we have people who are subscribed
so it's basically 2012 for us.
Yeah, bro. It's like I think we're not too far, It's like, okay, Spotify is in the country now. That's perfect. Now we can cool. Yeah. So now more banks need to switch to Visa for us to pay for digital things. So the market for them.
So is it only Visa or Maestro, MasterCard?
Yeah, most of them need both of them, Most platforms need both of them, but Visa is more widespread. Yes. So more companies,
indie.
Yeah. More platforms use it for monetization. Okay. So first of all, when you get into the industry of being a YouTuber and you're from the L, you're already at a disadvantage because the monetization element is already...
It's out of the picture.
Yes. So that's why you'd have very big channels in the L. We have specifically the artist platforms like your musicians and the people who also rip actual music. people would redistribute it, you know.
Why would you say it like that?
Because it's facts. I have a keen interest in intellectual property, actually. So
IP,
yeah. So as a thing
so
that
would you say, pardon me for interrupting you, as because you have we're gonna get into more, but you are a legal professional, like a qualified.
Not yet.
You actually know.
Yeah. I'm pretty much done. So I just need my qualification. I just need to like finish one
a
specific module. Yeah, I need like a specific module done.
And wear a cap for it.
And then I'll be done. Because like all my in-class modules, you know, all the tests. I never have to ever write a test again in law school. So that part is done. But the research paper vibe, dissertation, which is basically a thesis and whatever. And my thesis was on music, actually, on music and protection and stuff. But we'll get into that later. But ideally, there's that. If you talk about law, I could school you because I'm done with it, you know.
Let's go.
School, yeah. But ideally, I was saying that getting to the landscape of YouTube, as a Mosoto, you're at a disadvantage already because there's not enough market for Google for them to like monetize. Yeah. So actually the numbers is not even that. It's not the problem. The issue is our spending, our digital spending. Okay. You know, like how much are we spending on the internet? Yeah.
Tell me about that. Because you mentioned that it's not really about that we are a population of 2 million people in the country, but it's really how we spend our, because we have like countries that have less than 2 million people, but they actually can monetize their
it's the access. It's the access to their services. The thing is, it's like the biggest problem for them is like, if they come into the country, will we pay for YouTube Premium? So they need like test subjects first, you know. Only brave programs like brave let's say businesses are able to like let's just get into it and try, because so many more have failed, you know. But we have Spotify now with a lot of users. A lot more users are premium.
30,000, 40,000.
You know, and that's a decent number for a start, especially in the last year. The fact that it's growing, it says that they saw something. So for them, it's the same thing. It's like YouTube. We are always on YouTube, but our spending, you know, can we pay for their services, you know? YouTube music, YouTube movies.
We actually have it easy in Lesotho because I think I looked at the statistics. I spend 80% of my time on YouTube. Not necessarily because I'm watching stuff, but every time I open any computer that I have, either at the office or at home,
YouTube is your go-to app.
It's the go-to app, yes, and then I think I spend 80% of my time either on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So, what would you say? Because you said you were interested in IP. Looking at an international space, what would you say IP? Like, for instance, can I practice IP? Can I have intellectual property in Africa and have it my IP everywhere else in the world?
Okay, now we're getting legal. I think the thing about intellectual property is we have to understand that it's geographical.
Okay.
Yes. So you can, just at the basic level, you can copyright something. Copyright, fortunately, is a bit more international, in the sense that it can apply. The same copyright can apply in SA if you're part, because Lesotho is part of a treaty, IP. You understand? Yes.
SADC.
Yes, sir. Just internationally. Internationally, yes. There's like an international treaty.
Part is part of it.
Yes, sir. So
okay.
Does it affect how your IP will be protected in different spaces, in different territories? Sometimes it will not apply. But if you have a company in the L and you register the IP in this sense, in the IP the trademark, right?
Okay.
Yes, you trademark your company in this country.
In Lesotho.
Yes, in South Africa, somebody can start the same company with the same name, with the same everything, and then trademark in SA before you could.
So you basically have to register your IP in Lesotho, South Africa, the US, Nigeria, because Nigeria is actually going hard for everything.
Yeah. You especially, it's the same thing. There's a case, a popular case, Polo, Ralph Lauren and Polo.
Isn't Ralph Lauren and Polo the same thing?
Nope. Nope.
That's new to me.
Those are two different concepts.
I thought here's the popular rhetoric. It's the popular rhetoric is Ralph Lauren is the brand for wealthy people.
Yeah.
And then Polo is a brand for people who want to be wealthy.
Oh, yeah.
So you tell me, what's the why is Ralph Lauren different? Or how? Because I always thought Ralph Lauren and Polo are like literally the same brand under one umbrella, one under LVMH.
So Ralph Lauren and Polo, there's Ralph Lauren Polo, and then there's Polo, right?
Ralph Lauren Polo?
And then there's Polo, right? So Polo is a South African brand. It's a South African brand.
That's new to me.
So when they did that, even though I don't remember the specifics of the case. So if your brand identity is widespread enough, like your Nikes, it's so hard to rip off Nike because Nike's so widespread. It's so popular.
Everybody knows what Nike looks like.
Yeah. You know, one of the basics for the application of like your trademark laws is that for it to not be replicated, it must be widespread enough for us to have a solid reason to say, even in this country where we do not specifically register. You know, Nike does not have
doesn't have to register in Africa.
In different countries. So what those guys did was they introduced Polo with a similar moniker, with the similar aesthetic. I told you could basically you can take the same thing. You can
image
literally
and likeliness.
Yeah, likeliness. That's basically what they were using. So they did the same thing, and then Ralph Lauren caught wind of this, and then they tried to take them down, but they couldn't because they couldn't prove that Ralph Lauren was as widespread in this region as they thought it was. The truth of it is what it was, but not as they couldn't meet the requirements. You know, there's no objective. There's no specific objective way to do it, but you have to prove it in a specific way. There's obviously substantive ways to do it in the court, and there's court procedure on how you can try and produce evidence that your brand is actually as big as you claim it to be.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that's basically what happened, man. It's one of those cases, the IP, where the reasons your brand can be. It's pretty easy to rip off a brand. It's pretty easy. It's like the music. It's the music. It's the music they play.
Hear.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, I'm a Sotho entrepreneur. Basically, I'm from Africa, Southern Africa, Lesotho. I started a brand. It's doing pretty well. Growing. Let's say artificial intelligence, because that's one of our conversations here on the Media Space podcast. Let's say I started artificial intelligence technology. It looks quite well. It does exactly what it's as good as OpenAI. I've registered it in Lesotho. Basically, it's IP. And then someone in the how do I protect myself from someone in the US or someone from Europe or Asia from stealing the idea? Not necessarily stealing, but from actually having the same product go to market product.
Oh yeah. Like I said, the rules are different. So for patents, for copyright, for trademarks, let me tell you where this is going to apply. There's going to be a patent if we are talking in terms of a design like that, like a technology,
artificial intelligence technology.
It's not going to be copyright, you know. But there's a recent case. I want to believe it was Apple.
Okay.
So Apple recently, in their latest smartwatch, they ripped off. They took the patent, a registered
Oxygen,
patent.
Oxygen sensors,
from a different company.
Yeah.
But the thing is, guy, it's big tech. There's big pharma. There's big tech, right? Guy, it's big tech. They thought they were gonna get away with it because it was gonna be easy for them to just say present the product and claim, whoever is coming through with accusations that this product is theirs will be lying, you know, and it didn't,
because we've already done it like a multiple times.
Yeah. Like they already had a product like that, but there was an improved patent technology that they applied in their latest product, and they had to take them off the shelves, all of them globally. So it's one of those things. It's like
I saw that
So,
they can no longer sell Apple products.
That's
specifically an Apple Watch that
reads
for oxygen.
That specific one. So it's one of those things where I'm like, the rules are different depending internationally and nationally and like continentally. So say the United Nations has a treaty, that binds everybody to the same laws. Treaty around that. Yeah. So around patents, around this and this and this and that. So it'll say that specific technology is a very sensitive thing. Let's be fair and honest. That's why some people
and
can
it's
run
public,
exactly.
so it's easy to rip
the
off.
reason we have let's use it in the most broad sense. The reason you can have Android, right? Android is a product of one company. You understand?
Is it Google?
Yeah. It's from Linux.
Google.
It's Linux. It's Linux.
Android.
Yeah. It's Linux, and then Google acquired. Yeah. But ideally,
acquisition games.
Yes, sir. The thing I'm talking about, let's talk about technology in that sense. What you're talking about, AI and
artificial intelligence technology.
Yes, sir. If we were talking about something like that, if you have a product like Android, right, the operating system, it's kind of impossible for anybody else in the world to use Android without authorization. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how widespread the protection of patent is.
Okay.
So the rules are going to be different.
So I cannot just come out of the blue and create a phone and then have it run on
Android
operating system of Android.
Yeah. So you'd rather have a variation of it where the core elements are different. That's why Huawei has a different operating system.
Okay.
But ideally, since the concept is the same, if you are into programming, you'll know that most products are like open source, are from like open source Linux,
Okay.
Yes. So let's look at it like this. All the same elements are kind of present, the drop down screen, the user interface, yes sir, there's parts and elements that are kind of leased in a way. Kind of forgot the legal term for it, but like kind of leased to other spaces.
So they should be left out for everyone in the world. For instance, let's say I'm in technology, I'm Apple, and you are Google. So there are some things that should necessarily be left for the public to use. For instance, let's say the phone.
That's why I said it's open source. Like there's a motherboard, right?
Okay.
There's motherboard and it falls, and then there's other rivers that fall. Yeah. But ideally the format, so the main body, which is Kali and whatever, is open source. So open source programs mean that whatever I create out of that is mine. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah, but they're gonna have similar features because they're from the same source.
So same idea.
Yes. That's why Windows kind of runs Windows, Android.
So we cannot have www.facebook.co.ls because it's still Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's different rules for different things, technology, different IPs, different products. Yeah, basically that's what I mean.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
as a brand, do I have to go all the way to buy every domain that has my business name in it? For me, let's say I don't know anything about patent laws. I don't know anything about intellectual property laws. And then do I have to go all the way to buy, let's say, MediaSpace Inc.? I've realized that there are other companies in the United States and then in the UK that have MediaSpace in their name, but we are MediaSpace Inc. As much as Inc. is intentional, but it's part of our brand. So do I go out of my way to buy every domain name on the internet that has MediaSpace in it, or how do I file the patent to say, look, this is my domain name, this is my name, my brand name. Let's say I'm Facebook.
I'd
go out of my way?
I'd have to look into that for you, honestly.
Okay.
I'm a little bit out of touch. I'm a little bit rusty in that element. Yeah.
Okay.
It would be. I don't want to become one of those people who's just like, let me tell you, bro. Let me tell you how this. Yeah. No, I'm a bit out of touch, but I think it's something you can look into. I'd have to figure out now what that part of the world works like, Yes, I'm gonna apply my basic legal knowledge, but that part needs very specific things. That's why we have different people practice for different things.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think for whoever is listening and watching this podcast at home, let's just consider it because we cannot provide you with a final answer for it.
Like a specific.
Go to the internet, look for it, and then maybe it's.
Or hit me up, and then we could do it together. Yeah, we could do it together. If it's something that you're actually actively struggling with or you're curious about, I could look into it, but like it's a consultation, it's a different thing. It's a different thing.
You're gonna be charging them for
it's a different thing, you know. It's time. It's time and it's money. So if it's like when you consult a lawyer for whatever reason. You have to have.
So that's why you should have lawyer friends so that you can find.
We're doing away with that practice this year. This year, you're not gonna ask me in my inbox. So, hey, bro, man, like we're having. Can you help me register a company? I'm not. I'm like that's gonna be. I'm like fee. Okay, that's 5,000.
You just throw in an invoice or a quotation. Like, okay, hey man, this is how we do it.
Yeah. For you to talk to me, for you to have a chat with me.
There's one guy we're gonna have on the podcast called Ntatistana.
Yes, sir.
And he mentioned that in the Lesotho payment is thank you.
Yes, I did that, bro. I've been part of the industry for so long that I know that. I've made a post.
You've been paid with thank you, man.
That's like 6
You're doing great.
years old. Literally, I could show you a post from my Facebook that says, thank yous don't pay the bills.
You know? You actually have to get out of pocket and actually pay people. I don't know if paid out of pocket. Okay, that out of the way.
Yes, sir.
You seem very well versed into legal.
Well, me. It's not even that. It's you do something for 5 years, it sticks with you.
I looked into a study. I don't remember who made it. Is it Andrew Huberman? He made the study that if you do something for 3 days, it's an interest. If you do it for a week, it's something that you actually want to do. It's a commitment. You do it for 3 months, it's a habit. You do it for a year, it's something that you're known for. You do it for 3 years. It's
so basically speaking on consistency.
It's a skill now. So he mentioned something like that. So I'm coming down to what you said, that you've been doing it for 5 years. It comes natural to you. So tell me, because now I'm back to my point. You are well versed on legal. Tell me, how did you get into the entertainment space? How did you get into YouTube space? How did you get into marketing? Because at the end of the day, entertainment, YouTube comes down to marketing and advertising products and selling them on the internet and in real time out of home. Tell me, now that you are a legal person, now you're getting into what did it look like and how did you get into it? Because it sounds like it's two different industries. It's like a scientist getting into philosophy.
It's like a different thing. Hey man, it was easy. It was easy. I'm gonna be honest. It was easy because I think I've always been passionate about media since high school, right?
Okay.
So in high school, I come from Botabote, which is very. I don't know. Botabote is very forward for where it is. Hlotse, Botabote, they're very, very forward spaces. And I think it's because of different reasons. Maybe people coming in with different influences, people going to school in the cities and coming back with that, and then us being closer to the borders, because all of that. So there's like there's many things we could like say are the reason for those places being forward, in terms of like lifestyle, culture, and whatever. But since high school, I've always been like a fan of media, dabbled in some creation of music. That's why I learned how to audio mix, I learned how to master. And then, I dabbled
in music.
Yeah. And then I did music, and then I did graphic design. And then when everybody else got into it, like when everybody else got into it in high school, I was like, let the homies do their thing.
Oh, well.
Let the homies do their thing, man. I'm a very cocky individual, especially when at times
believe in yourself that much.
Hey, bro, it's not believing, bro. I leave this thing. It's
delusion.
Yeah, I leave of grandeur.
Okay,
yes,
is it delusion? Because I'm looking at how you're saying it. It's coming from a perspective of a person who does a lot of, as an entrepreneur myself, I consider myself as a person who would easily get into any industry and disrupt that industry, because I think I don't know, I at the top of my mind, I just get into the industry and say, I don't know anything. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to fall on my face and fail. You say, I don't know. I really don't know. But I just want you to illustrate what it looks like for you getting into marketing as a legal professional.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the inspiration has always been there. You know.
Okay.
The reason I went to law school, besides my love for law, was when I say I'm a radio presenter, when I say I'm a media personality, when I say I'm an actor, when I say I'm a musician, I wanted the weight of it, you know. I know there's professions that are taken more seriously when you walk into a boardroom. Like even first year, my friends would say, this guy is gonna quit at some point.
Where you did
so from first year, I wanted the credibility of to pursue my art in freedom, you know, to say, yeah, man, I have an honors in law. What are you saying?
What are you talking about?
But like the first thing you're gonna ask me when I tell you I am a designer, you know, I need you to treat me as such with the weight of what I did academically. Yeah. So it was easy for me to shift to do them both. I did like 5 years of radio. I did like 6.
Oh, that's new. That's new.
Yeah, man. I did
5
that.
years of radio, 5 years of law.
Yeah.
Hey, what else didn't you do?
That's why I said everything, man. I've dabbled in everything that I liked, you know.
Okay.
And at every point that I felt like I'd outgrown it, I left it. You know, I did radio and I felt like there was too much censorship, and I left it. That's why I said I do not miss the space.
Censorship. What do you mean?
There's a lot of red tape in radio that you guys
cannot go to.
Yeah, there's bureaucracy.
I'm not in radio.
Yeah, no. I know that, but like there's a lot that people don't know happens behind the scenes.
Okay.
Specifically bureaucracy, the censorship,
politics.
the politics as well. So they take away radio takes you away your creative control. So I wanted creative control. That's why I got into YouTube. You know, I was like, let me get into something else for now. And then I just stuck to doing like your voiceovers for other radio stations and brands as like side gigs.
Is it Calvin Harris? Calvin Harris, the YouTuber. Let me confirm. It's probably a different name.
Yeah, Calvin Harris is the artist.
Is it?
Kevin Harris is the artist.
Who's this YouTuber who creates journalism? Yeah, it's an artist.
Yeah.
But there's this YouTuber who creates journalistic
pieces
on Johnny Harris.
Yeah.
So what you did, it's actually the same thing, because he was like, I cannot do TV, I cannot do radio, I might as well get into YouTube because I can be independent, I can report on the truth, I can actually be creative on what I do on these platforms.
Yes, sir. I wanted a platform that would allow me to do whatever I wanted. If I wanted to do a fashion shoot and a styling video, I could do that. If I wanted to do a brand placement, brand affiliation thing, you know, I would do that. If I wanted to have a conversation about something that is taboo in modern day society, especially Lesotho as a conservative nation, I wanted that. That's why there's a playlist for very taboo things, and then there's for fun things, and then there's a lifestyle element of it. So there's different elements that YouTube allows us to do. Yeah. So that's what I wanted. I wanted the creative freedom to do whatever I wanted, and I got into it, man. I got into it, and I figured out my niche, and
you got into it. And for instance, okay, not for instance, but for a person who just wants to get into YouTube anywhere in the world, regardless of the demographic or the geographic restrictions, what's your advice for a young person who just wants to get into YouTube? Whatever the style of content, whatever the quality of content, what would you say to them?
Just start. I swear to God, I tell this to everybody. I've been on a collaboration spree where I'm very intentional about who I associate with, and who I work with. So sometimes the thing is, on my channel, I bring on my friends. You know, I bring on not necessarily people who we're closest with, but anybody I can have an organic conversation with. So it's easier that way. It's more natural like that. But like the reality of it is, when you start, literally with most people don't even start with a camera. Most people just start with audio, and they only have audio, and that's that. You know. So just start, man. Whatever concept you have,
experience.
Yeah. Whatever you're going to do is going to help you become better. Because I remember when I started, I didn't even have a tripod. I didn't have nothing. You know.
You just started. Yeah, I started.
I still don't even have like a crazy equipment like to the way I want my studio set up. You know. We're still out here. We're leasing cameras, bro. We're leasing
having friends help you out.
You know, there's all those things. Just start. I think it's easier to just start if you think you have a concept that will sell.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
You have who to sell to.
And
who's gonna buy.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Even if you're doing it for fun, I just want people to start, bro. Because I think you can only see your milestones once you start it. It's a milestone in its own starting.
That's really interesting. So say I'm a Masutu person. I just want to get into. For instance, it's really interesting for whoever we have had on the podcast for the second episode. It's people who make money online, either directly or indirectly. We had Mr. Tumelo who does freelancing on Upwork, etc. Freelancing platforms like people.com, people per hour. So tell me, how do I make money on YouTube? Like the layman, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, so
I couldn't go academic for reasons that I cannot avoid. I want to get into YouTube because I'm a creative. How do I make money on YouTube?
So YouTube has its own platforms that it uses to make money, right? It has AdSense, and that's basically that's ads, right? But
they run ads on
your content, but you have to qualify for that, which is one of those things where I said 4,000 watch time hours, and then you also have like at least 1,000 subscribers for you to qualify for the YouTube Partners Program. So there's that.
Do I automatically qualify if I have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time?
You wait for it. Basically gets you
consideration.
But like it's almost guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed if you're in the right location and there's enough traffic. You know, there's a lot of analytics they're gonna do, but mostly once you fulfill those things, you're in the running for YouTube.
They consider you.
Yeah, definitely.
You can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're definitely getting monetization that way. From there, you can start making your $3, $2, something. Depending on how much traction you have. You know, I'm looking at a few. Shout out to the landscape right now on YouTube, and I'm always like, we started this consistency element. We did this. You know, I love this. I love the fact that everybody's getting into it. There's a lot more podcasts. There's a lot more creators doing different things. There's people who are doing pranks, who are doing just different things. You know,
just go out there.
Tutorials. Because I remember when I was at school, my friend was doing programming tutorials on YouTube. And he had like a mic, and then he just had like a Bandcamp, just record his programming and stuff. I think for different things you can get into it, but then there's also ways to make money with YouTube without the actual platform being the source of income like that. In this sense, brand affiliation and brand placement. So these are marketing elements that basically you could like use to make money for yourself. Brand affiliation is, okay, I have the numbers, or I have the audience that you want, and let me sell. For me to place a product, for me to bring in the Diamond Money brand, you know, onto my channel, pay me. For me to bring it on, you're gonna have to pay me, you know, because
let me put your brand here. Sponsor the episode.
Yes, sir.
And then
yes, sir. You don't even have to do a lot. Like, let's make a deal. I make 2 episodes, and we're reviewing your food.
Okay.
You know, it's a food establishment. I did that. I wanted to show. I made a template with it with a few brands. I did with a different brand that was called Eats and Meats.
Okay.
So Eats and Meats was the delivery.
We'll probably
yeah.
we will probably beep it out because they
Yeah.
pay us for this.
Yeah, for sure. It was Eats and Meats, and we did that. It was pretty easy because I wanted to show them how easy I could drive traffic to the business. Yes, that's what you sell. There's mukbangs. Mukbangs is a food review type vibe. You have food and you eat your food and you basically just give an honest review of what you're having, you know? Yeah. You could upscale it, you can upsell it, obviously, because it's marketing. Yeah, you could do that, and that way you get paid for that. And then there's also people who have seen you on the channel, and they want you to say we're the brand, do that. So there's different ways for you to affiliate with brands and make money. Yes.
Okay.
So you can make money. Otherwise, like right now, I'd be working with. Excuse me, I'm planning on working with a few NGOs and some big corporates.
Taboo, like you mentioned that you have taboo conversations.
Yeah.
I think NGOs are a perfect space for it.
Yeah,
so
for sure. So the portfolio is solid now. You know, I did one with the AIDS and Rights Alliance of Southern Africa last year at the beginning. Some good dough, man. You know, for a good 30 minutes, I got paid solid money, you know.
Really good. Okay.
So it's stuff like that.
Young person, not necessarily a young person, but whoever just wants to make money online, just do content, just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
And then
brand affiliation.
So I have two
placement.
questions as per your point.
Yes, sir.
What does that look like legally?
Yeah.
What does that look like financially?
Yeah.
Because I'm saying if I'm not easily. I'm not a business. It's Mr. Mashubani getting into YouTube.
Yeah, you're a brand.
Doing content.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not registered with a department of business, whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm not a licensed entity.
Yeah.
I'm not an LLC or P2L, TD, etc. What does that look like legally with, let's say, Apple, let's say MediaSpace Inc., a collaboration? We give you the money, you give us the traffic. What does the legal conversation? What does it look like? Legal conversation. How is the conversation legally, and how is the conversation financially?
Okay. The reality of it is most entities have their own setup. You know, they have their own setup, but I have my own content creator contract. It's 13 pages of me just telling you
13 pages. That's how people if you get into, let's say you want your business to get into, let's say you have to meet a landlord, you gotta get your office space. They literally give you a book like this for you to sign so that they can actually hide stuff in there.
I think for me it was I wanted every single term to be there, and the thing is, people have to understand that a personal brand is not necessarily something you can register off the go. You know, I can't go to.
Actually, Tumelos told us how to do it.
I it's something that's possible, but it's not the first thing you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to build the brand. Actually think about it.
Actually. So I, as a brand, like per my name, just my name, I am a brand. So by affiliating with this brand, I speak about myself in third person in contracts, you know, even proposals, you know, because
likeliness.
Yeah. So it's like you're working with this entity. I am the brains behind this entity, right? I am the face. I am the marketing, whatever. I represent this brand.
Okay.
So
that's
legally, you're gonna have to set up your own terms, like who owns the IP on the content that you create, who has the creative control as well. There's elements like that. You're going to have to talk about remuneration. You're going to talk about it, your rates maybe, per industry standards. There's barely any, so you set them up for yourself. That's the thing. Most people have to understand that the industry is so open, man. You can, first of a kind, first of a legacy. That's my chat. Yes. So you can literally set up your own space. Like this is how I want the industry to function for me.
Okay.
This is how I want brands to approach me. This is how I want this to happen. Because there's already existing contracts in the space between brands, personal brands, and corporate or whatever, and entities.
Okay.
So you have to make sure that you draft them in a way that they reflect your personal brand. They align with you, and they align with how you're going to execute things and how you're going to do them. Because
so they basically come in as the money, you come in as the
yes,
the
I come in with the creative. So it depends on them what they need from me, you know.
Okay.
Yes, because I also need something from them as well. So I tell them I want creative control, or if you're going to use me as a mannequin, this is how much I charge to be a mannequin. Yeah. If we were selling an image of me,
image and likeliness.
yeah. If we were selling just, oh, this person looks great for our brand, you know, then it's easy for me to say, yeah,
And
sure,
their audience.
yeah. But then there's me saying, for brainstorming, I charge this much, you know, conceptualization of a product, actual creation of the product, shooting, editing. So there's single rates for every single thing. And I took the format from how bigger brands, obviously there's inspirations, man. There's inspirations in how I interact with brands.
You just customized it to a personal brand.
Yeah, to my personal brand.
Okay.
Because it could be different for yours.
Okay.
You know, that's why when I draft specific contracts for I've done some for photographers, right?
Okay.
A photographer is still a content creator contract that I'm going to create for them, but the rules are going to be different depending on what type of photographer they are, how they deal with their clients, their different terms, their rates, all that. So I customize it to that. Yes, sir. So the legal element of it is that corporates or entities will always have their own legal elements. If they don't show you the legal stuff, they're about to take advantage of you. You know, if they're not.
You mentioned that you got into legal because you said you love entertainment, you love creative.
Yes, sir.
And you got into legal not for the credibility. Yes, the credibility is important, but you realize that people who are creative are being exploited left, right, and center.
Yes, sir.
So tell us how you would protect yourself as a person who doesn't know legal. Like, I don't know anything about legal, but I don't have the money.
Contract.
Okay.
Contracts.
Well.
Everything is a contract.
An agreement,
Yes,
actually.
sir.
Okay.
Contracts. An agreement and a contract are the same thing, you know, but at different levels, right? The technical elements are pretty easy. Let's talk about we could agree on something, an oral
Verbally,
agreement. Yeah, an oral agreement. It could stand in court, but
My
not
word
really.
against yours.
Yeah, but not really. There's a lot of circumstances. So to avoid the most basic things, man, just have an IOU. Can you have like an MOU or an IOU? If somebody is saying, for this service, how much are you going to charge, right? Have it in writing, even if it's on a sheet of toilet paper. It'll stand in court.
Oh, because it's written, we agreed on it.
Yes. If I say, you say,
Interesting.
bind yourself, I, specific co and co, PTY Ltd, or this individual. That's an IOU, right? For services rendered this and this and this.
Okay.
Yes. And then you keep your copy, and then it's their signature. Fine.
So
right?
how important is it for me as a creative to have my copy, and you as a corporation to have your copy? Because I could actually be like, well, I signed a contract with them. They have it. They have it.
Yeah.
And then I don't have my copy.
Oh no, you have to make sure you have your own copy.
Okay.
You have to make sure you have your own
important
copy, or no, you know how people can just say, "Oh, I didn't sign a contract with you." You know,
they
it's
can
really-
literally say that.
Yeah, they can say that if there's no actual proof that. Yeah.
okay.
So I'm just saying, is like as a creative, take yourself seriously enough
As a
to
business.
at least have an IOU or an MOU. So memorandum of understanding will be like, okay, for the same, it's a bit more extensive than an IOU, because an IOU basically just says, I understand that I owe you for a specific service rendered or for something else. Yes, it's like if you borrowed your friend money and you're like,
I understand that I owe you.
Yeah, I understand that I owe you. It's acknowledgement of that.
Okay.
So it's binding. Yeah. Just take yourself as seriously enough to just have a basic thing, you know? And I know in reality, I am still, I'm not even this individual. I'm not as intense about it because I still have agreements.
But it's important.
Yeah, but it's very, very important.
Okay.
You know, it's very, very important that we draft things down and write them down and have yourself protected for whatever. And it's not to say that you have people in bad faith when you interact with them, but it's just saying you have to protect yourself.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to hear your sentiments on this. Alex Mozi said, Alex Mozi, an internet personality, entrepreneur, sold his businesses online. He said, contracts are not really for me to actually come in one day with lawyers in the building.
Yeah.
They are a document that we have together to manage expectations.
Yeah.
What's your sentiments on that?
I think that's a very pretty straightforward thing because there's obligations in a contract. There's rights and obligations in the contract.
Okay.
So your rights are what are you subjected to, you know, and then the obligations is what is your responsibility to the other person and them to you and to each other. So contract is basically that, you know, it's just a combination of all those things together. Your rights, your obligations to each other, your expectations, the terms and conditions. Even sometimes some contracts do not have the minor small writings. You know,
how do they call it? People get lost in the Was it fine print? Yes,
in the fine print. Yeah.
It's like this.
Not everything needs that because some of those things are kind of implied into the contract by virtue of the type of contract that you have.
The fine print can say this acts as this renders the whole contract useless. Like basically, this fine print says the contract doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but like that.
So you actually have to read the fine print.
Yeah, definitely. You have to know all the terms of the contract that you're in. Okay. It only makes sense. But all I was saying is that there's some things are read into contract. Yeah, you don't even have to write them. You know, a type of contract. If we have a contract about today's interaction, and there's a general international template or a national one, depending on location and whatever, that governs that specific interaction. You know, because all law is what governs everyday interactions between people, the society, the state, and all of that. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
for you who is listening at home, we still have Mr. Lungile Matutoane in the studio. Lungile T on Twitter. Go ahead and follow him. And we actually we published 2 types of content on 2 different platforms. I don't know, for whatever reason, Elon Musk decided we don't deserve to have Twitter, so he suspended our Twitter profiles. But we still do have at Mediaspace Inc. Twitter handle. So go ahead and ask Mr. Lungile Matutoane a few questions, whatever the questions that you have, and we actually arranged for him to answer the questions that he has. Mr. Lu, can you have us answer the questions that our audience had? And go ahead and ask him any question. We will still answer the questions either on the podcast or beyond the podcast, because I think it's very important for you to have you engaged on the platform. I don't think I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, so let's use Mr.
Yeah, you can have my.
Yeah, because you were tagged
mine too
on Facebook and on Twitter. Let's have his phone. Give him his phone so that we can actually answer questions of our audiences.
Let me do this.
Well, you are actually getting into your phone.
Sir.
Tell me about Diamond.
Man.
Well, I think it's a conversation in itself. We still have time.
Yeah.
It's a conversation in itself. We can literally get into it for like 20 minutes because it's really impressive.
Yeah,
and I think it's something that we need to actually export to the whole world, because it's actually an idea. I don't know, man. I don't want to explain it for you because it's actually really interesting. Because when we were commuting, we actually saw it. We were like, what's Diamond? There it is.
Yes,
and one of our video people Mr. Lou. We'll have him on the podcast. He will be from behind the camera to in front of the camera to also tell us about Diamond, because it's actually really interesting to tell us about Diamond. So let's start with Facebook. I think Facebook.
Okay.
I think let's start with the conversation we had on Facebook. Go ahead and search the Media Space podcast, and you were tagged on it, and then they will ask you a question. They have asked you a question. I don't know if it's still just one question, but
there was a question on here
from Lungile, from Mr. Lungile Matutoane. He actually asked you a question, but I actually want us to read into it and actually have it as accurate as possible.
Okay, cool.
Okay, the post was, ask him anything. We have Mr. Lungile Matutoane on the podcast. You can ask now, during airing, or after the podcast, and we will answer your questions. Listen live on Bigetwa FM 104.4 megahertz, or live on the internet on www.bigetwafm.co.ls. So the question was, Mr. Lungile, as a YouTuber and content creator, what is your advice for up-and-coming YouTubers and content creators? The advice should be related to the difficulty of monetizing on such platforms to get to a place where the content makes money substantially. That means I can actually live off of the content. One has to have an enormous audience and viewership, which is very difficult to have locally. Locally, he means in Lesotho, Southern Africa, in Africa. So, your answer to this question, and then while you answer this question, let's go to your Twitter and then address both questions directly.
Okay, he's talking about how to sustainably make money off of YouTube. I think, like I did say,
as a beginner.
Yeah, as a beginner, you have to have a niche.
Okay.
You have to have a niche, and then you have to have a formula. The formula that's worked for me is consistency. If I know that I'm aiming for specific views, specific timelines, people love to know that you're consistently there. You know, they love to know that all the time that they need you to be online talking about something. The reason other brands like the big podcast in SA is doing so great.
Podcast and chill.
The reason they're doing so great is consistency. Okay. You know, as a person who watched some of the first few episodes, the first 15 episodes, and was there with it for the longest time, the formula that I realized was the consistency is what brings people back. Okay. As much as the quality will improve with time, yeah, because consistency allows you the chance to grow, to see how much growth you need, you know, to see to see the space for you to grow. So be consistent, find a niche, find something that's all you. And I think it's inaccurate to say we don't have an audience in the L.
We do.
Because let's be fair and honest, every single time we are watching YouTube, but not LS YouTubers. Yeah, you know.
So we do have.
We have a large audience. Yeah, there's
it's just that they don't watch us because we don't create the content they want to watch.
There's no content for them to watch. Okay. You know, we're not relatable enough. It's either you're mimicking somebody else who is in South Africa or any other place, you know. So it's like, for them, what's the point? Sometimes it's like, what's the point?
Might as well not.
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point of watching somebody who's mimicking somebody else?
Might as well watch the original.
Yeah, might as well watch the person who's pushing the original content.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's basically what I mean. Kind of what's your
Lungile_T?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then in terms of sustainability, obviously, it'll speak to It'll speak to.
I don't know why I'm laughing at your cover photo.
Yes,
on Twitter,
sir. Yes, sir.
On X now. It's X now.
Yes.
But I don't know why, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, sir.
Because my first question, like we always have these questions on the podcast, the funny questions. Like we asked Mr. Tumelo how many black T-shirts he has.
Yeah.
And actually tried to have black on me, but it didn't work out.
Yes, sir.
Obviously. But are you married?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. That was supposed to be funny, but oh well. we did it late in the pod, so yeah, you actually have the time to actually answer the question. Let me do the honors of reading the question.
The Twitter one is on your page, right?
Go to Mr. Mashubani. Go ahead and follow me if you have the chance.
I already have you on my Twitter, so you'll see.
I published something there, like we're gonna have Mr. Lungile on the pod, and he's gonna answer any question that you have.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking for the answer. Okay, here it is. For the question that they asked, yes.
Okay, you can actually read the question for yourself and then
So
actually answer.
the question,
but I think it's better if I
bet.
ask the question so that you can actually take the time to answer
check it out.
the question. Where is the question?
That's the tweet.
Yeah, but the tweet, we actually had the question on the tweet.
Yeah.
Let's go to my Twitter. Ask him anything, and then I get into the tweet. It says, "My Lungile T, it's Riadile Liballo at Riadile Liballo 8 hours ago.
Yes, sir.
My brother, you're always in such positive spirits. How do you stay in that mind space, even when things get rough for you?" I think he knows you.
Yeah, he knows me personally, yes, sir.
Yeah. So, can you do the honors and answer in the question on the pod?
I think for everybody who's listening, man, I think positivity is a survival skill, man. It's because realizing how much negativity drains you of the potential for you to become better.
That's powerful.
Positivity is just a way of life. It's a lifestyle thing. I'm surrounded by so much success in so many different ways, and I'm a person who loves to celebrate wins, however little people might think they are, you know. And that always keeps me up in a good space, because I think it's always like, if my friend got this done, you know, or if somebody that I know is making this much money, or is living this kind of lifestyle, or, you know,
it's doing great.
Yeah, it's doing great in whatever they're doing. Then it's possible. Yeah. So knowing that things are always possible is easier for me to. It's easier for me to accept that even for myself. It'll be easier to get there. I'm always like, don't worry about it. You know.
It is
specifically
what it is.
him. It's someone I always tell, like, bro, just
chill.
You know. They're like, yeah, we work hard. Yeah, we work maybe 3 times as hard as the next person, but things don't always work out. But being positive is a lifestyle more than anything, man.
Okay.
It's good for you, but at the same time, there's a time when you have to gauge it, because it gets toxic as well. You know, there's toxic positivism, in fact, optimism actually, because there's a time when you need to let the reality of where you are and acknowledge it. You have to actually feel it. You know, at some point, you have to let it happen, so that we experience it completely, you know? Yes. But when you come out of it, it's like 90% we're looking forward to things working out. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say you're positive selfishly, or you're positive because, well, like you mentioned, it is a lifestyle?
It's a lifestyle. It's because I believe things are always going to get better. I was thinking, I honestly believe that from the bottom of my heart, that things are always going to get better. No matter how intense they look, or
how hard it gets.
Yeah, how they might feel right in the moment. But in general, I just think things are always going to get better, even if it might take a longer time, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much resources, etc.
Yeah.
But it'll always.
Yeah. So it always
better.
leads in one direction.
Okay.
Yes, one direction, and it leads to paradise of some sort.
Okay. now that we have actually exhausted a lot of the things that you do, tell us about Diamond.
Yo, bro.
You can actually take the sign and actually show.
Man, I don't think you people understand.
People, I don't think locally people understand what you guys are doing.
Not yet.
But let's say
not yet. I think I need to
because
break.
I actually let me tell you what I thought it is and what I think it's going to become.
That's our.
I think Diamond is going to become one of the biggest brands. One of the biggest brands to ever exist on this planet Earth. That's for one.
Yes,
Two,
sir.
I think it's one of the biggest communities we're going to have on the globe. That's two. Three, I think it's one of the it's easily one of the best sellers of merch across Africa. I don't mind internationally, but in Africa, what it represents, I think it's going to be one of the biggest brands to ever exist in Africa. Now, that out of the way, tell me about Diamond.
That is crazy. Shout out to you. And shout out to you for that.
No, that's me as an entrepreneur looking at it from the outside.
I can see that. I can see that. Shout out. Thank you so much, man. So Diamond is a collective, bro. Collective is it's a brand. Diamond is a collective.
What's Diamond? From a person who is in UK who doesn't know what Diamond is.
Diamond is spelled Daeman, which means that person.
I'm
you
him.
know. Him.
I'm him.
Himothy, you know, Himalayans. Hims and hems. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
It just means you're that individual.
You're that guy.
It's an affirmation of character, affirmation of space, time, you know. It's like whatever you do, you are that person.
I'm him.
Be present in
This is
being.
awesome. This is really awesome to listen to because this is exactly what I thought Diamond is.
Yeah.
You did a really good job at branding.
Because it's from if we're talking like epistemology, right? Yes, I think that's the right word.
I don't know what that
is.
is.
But it's basically like the breakdown of the word. We were talking about that. It just means you are that man, you know.
That guy.
Yes, that guy.
That guy who slices wood with an axe with one blow.
Yes, sir. So ideally, it's just the collective of creative artists who are working together to create a brand.
But who do you have in this?
Man, I'm going to mention the Boskis. There's 5 people on it.
Let's have them on Twitter because it's an easier thing to do.
Definitely. There's Kong. He's a graphic designer, videographer, photographer, and musician, most of all, right? And style icon too, you know. There's him, and there's Stromae, who's Dumelo Museu. He's just a businessman, artisan, you know. He works with his crafts and he works with Signature Productions and all that.
That's awesome.
There's Lou Shrink, she's Victor Mutsiba behind the cam right there. He's part of your team. He's him. Yes, sir. And then there's Styles Poker, who is hey man, he's an influencer and concept genius.
All these guys that you mentioned, they have to actually do the things that you say they do.
Yeah, they do.
Because now they have heard that you mentioned that they do them. They actually have to be consistent with what you say.
In real life. No, we're just a group of people who have been doing things separately for so long. But we just realized that collectively as a group...
collaboration.
Yeah. We could build this entity that can exist beyond us, you know.
Are you registered?
Not yet.
You should register.
Not yet. Yeah, for sure.
Because it's looking bigger than I actually thought
for
it
sure,
would be.
For sure.
Actually register.
Yeah, man. We were into marketing, event curation, into fashion, into videography. We're into branding as well. So we're into so many different facets of the creative industry. But ideally, we're just a collective that's there to push the narrative that you can be 100% more than you already are. Like you can become so much more. And there's a lot going on. And we're currently hosting Hear Me Out as Sunday.
One of your brands.
Yeah, one of our most recent babies. We've been pushing them since September. It's one of the biggest things right now in the air, and the way we're pushing it right now, it'll be the biggest thing in SA, is in the sense of Southern Africa, because the brands that we're looking to work with and the people that we are gonna work with.
Okay.
It's looking pretty great, man. It's just a brand that you should look out for. Let's just say that for now.
It was my next question was, what does working with brands look like for you as Diamond, as Hear Me Out, as a few of other babies that you actually have, because you mentioned that you do
have a
marketing,
lot.
brand, etc. You say you people who should hear it here first.
Yeah.
What are you guys looking? What are you guys building?
Yeah.
And what should people look out for?
People just look out for different experiences, specifically in terms of, I think, community-centric and social enterprises that have the community at heart in giving a different experience whilst caring and making sure that everybody else around us, the community that supports us, is great, you know, and pushing the brand beyond the sort, beyond. Yeah, the way we're approaching things is different.
You have people calling you now.
We are the
They're
different.
Like, don't talk about Diamond.
They'll be good. They'll be good. But ideally, that's what we're doing. We're just looking to create spaces that are entirely different, but are very inclusive. And maybe for the first time, create a space that includes everybody in the L. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's that.
Is it specifically Lesotho, or are you looking into going global with this thing?
Obviously global.
Maybe, let's say,
obviously
on
global.
the internet, etc.
Obviously global. Even our the
Like
way
Ibiza.
we market, the way we market ourselves, we're aiming to go global for sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
Because we are a global podcast, by the way.
Shout out.
Yeah. So, your last sentiments, because I'm looking at the time, we only have like less than 3. We literally interrupt a show every day. So you tell us your last sentiments on, first, who is Lungile, in case the lines were blurred throughout the conversation we had, and then what does 10 years look like for you from today, and then maybe tell us about where they should find you, and by the way, before I get into that. Before you answer those 2 questions, what does 10 years look like for you? Who is Lungile Matutoane? Tell me, why do you love Japan so much?
Hey man, growing up, Konnichiwa Sup is where it's at. They know this. Man, I just been influenced so much. The culture is amazing. I love the culture. It's so
you love
rich.
Anime?
Yeah, obviously I grew up on that as well, like classic anime. Oh my god, you are such a nerd. But ideally, I love the style. I love the aesthetic. I love the culture. I love the tradition, and almost as much as I love my own, you know. But the fact that I understood so much of it before I understood my own, there's that. But I love Japan for the culture mostly, and that's why it's influenced so much of myself. Talking about how the next 10 years looks like, before I answer what Lungile is, the next 10 years looks like peace of mind. They look like sustainable in a live industry. Yes, I am part of a generation that's at the forefront of building an entire industry. What we're doing this year, we've done last year as well, is acknowledging that there's an actual industry and people need to eat out of it. So the next 10 years looks like a healthy industry. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Who's Lungile Matutoane? A creative artist. Can't even call myself a genius, but I've been called that.
You know what I mean?
I've been called that.
I'm not gonna call myself a genius.
Yes, but I'm just a creative artist, man. I'm a creative artist, and that's pretty much that. I think that's our time.
It is.
Shout out.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Lungile Matutoane. I think we can still have you answer the questions that we have on the platforms on the internet, on the platforms that we have. You can still continue answering the questions at your courtesy, of course. And thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Shout out.
Awesome. Yes, that was the podcast. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. If you are a new friend of the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and anywhere on the internet, and including iHeart and Spreaker, thank you very much for listening. And go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It takes literally like less than 3 clicks on these platforms. And if you are new to the podcast, go ahead and hit the follow button. And if you don't like the platform, hit the like button twice. If you like it and got value from it, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. And thank you very much for engaging with us. See you in the next podcast. Go to www.mediaspaceinc.com or www.bigetoFM.co.ls. See you next time. Cheers.